Hello there, I'm Danny Burke, and I used to be a teenager. It was a little bit of a phase, I grew out of it. Looking back, it was an exciting time in a lot of ways. I have some very happy memories of being a teenager, but a lot of you guys watching this video right now who are teenagers or older will also know that it isn't always roses. There are many things that make you wish you were anything but a teenager. So this is the top 10 worst things about being a teenager. At number 10, freedom of a kid, responsibility of an adult. I'm sure everyone can relate to this. Teenagers are told where they can or can't go, what time they have to be home by, and what shows or events they're allowed at. It's just like being a small kid still in a lot of ways, but on the other hand, teenagers are expected to behave like adults in some ways. They have to take on adult responsibilities, maybe get part-time jobs, plan for the future, that kind of stuff. In their own way, these are all good things to prepare a teenager for life as a young adult, but when you don't get the freedom that comes along with being an adult, it's a horrible combination that you just had to get through. Next up at number 9, mood swings. This one I really don't miss. Adults and kids have their high points and low points, but teenagers seem to get hit by a hormone truck that leaves them swinging between happy and kill me. Kill everyone. Why was I born? It's caused by sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen flooding the brain, which can interfere with normal thought processes. Teenagers' sleep patterns also start to change. Not having the right amount of sleep has a huge effect on mood. The best way to combat this is exercising, eating healthily, and trying to sleep well. But if it does happen, don't worry, it's only natural. Your family might be annoyed, but they'd be lying if they said they never had their own teenage mood swings. Alright, next up at number 8 now, we have bullying. Yes, little kids can bully each other. Adults can be bullies too, but bullying and teenage years seem to go sadly hand in hand, which is not okay at all. The website nobullying.com says that 20% of school students between the age of 14 and 18 have experienced bullying. That's 1 in 5, that's crazy. A lot of you guys watching this might have been bullied in school, and it's horrible, it really is. I was bullied when I was a kid. Looking back at it now, I wished I told people about it, because the truth is, everyone will understand. I feel like keeping it in the dark and keeping it hidden is often giving power to the bullies, so know that you're not alone and know that you will get through it. Wow, this video got quite deep quite quickly, so let's move on to our number 7, being talked down to. Everyone remembers when they were teenagers and how adults would talk down to you and just generally condescend you. Does this sound familiar to any teenagers watching this? It could be from your family, it could be from a teacher, it could be from someone you don't even know, but they always talk to you like you're a kid. They presume you can't do or understand things when you can, when they don't even know your full potential. You do though, obviously. The problem is that for a lot of adults that know teenagers, the teenagers change and develop so quickly during this time that it's hard to even keep track of what they can or can't do. They might not even mean to talk down to a teenager, they're just not keeping up with where the teenager is at. Alright, at number 6 now, money. Money, money, money. When you're a kid, you can't earn money. That's not really too much of an issue because you don't really need lots of money. Most kids are happy with a few toys and some chocolate every once in a while. But when you're a teenager, suddenly you want to do a whole lot more things in life. You want to go to concerts and shows and go on trips and buy clothes and get a phone and oh dear, you don't have any money, and the birthday money you got 5 months ago is being stretched to its limit. Some people say teenagers should get a part-time job, other people say they should always just focus on their schoolwork. Either way, you're sadly gonna end up either being tired or poor, or both. That's like the classic teenage combo. At number 5 now, we have body changes. We've talked a little bit about mood swings, but now let's talk about what goes on below the neck, shall we? You will never change as quickly in your life as the few years between the start and end of puberty. Boys and girls shoot up in height and suddenly look very gangly and uncomfortable in their new bodies. Guys' voices start to break, and for a couple of years they sound a bit like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Girls start to have periods and breast development, and everyone starts having sexual urges that they don't understand, and nobody is prepared for it. I don't actually know how you could prepare for puberty, but You get what I mean. Moving on to number 4 now, we have not knowing what to do with the rest of your life. Everybody knows that when you're a teenager, you have to decide exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life until the day you die. Well, no, that's not true, is it? But it's what most teenagers feel like. There's a huge amount of pressure on teenagers to make decisions that could impact their later life, and it's a stressful thing when you aren't even sure who you are yet. Ask any adult though, and they will always tell you the same thing. Don't worry too much. I knew people who knew what they wanted to do in life when they were 14, and now they're doing it. Great. I also know people who were doing things they never would have dreamed of when they were 14. The best way to figure it all out is to just gather the facts by living your life and being open to new opportunities. Coming in at number 3, teenage heartbreak. Listen, it's a very real thing, and anybody who tells you it's not probably just had their heart broken the worst out of everyone. It's no surprise your teenage years can be full of a lot of love and also a lot of hurt that comes with it. Most teenagers spend at least 30 hours a week at school for most of the year being surrounded by other teenagers, and everyone has feelings for each other that come and go, and they're up and down, and at the end of it, people do get hurt. Nobody wants that, but that doesn't mean it's the worst thing in the world, because, like it or not, it's one of the ways that people grow and learn to understand their emotions. It sucks. It really does suck, there's no two ways about it, but just like a lot of things on this list, you will get through it. Next up at number 2, I'm calling this one When I Was Your Age. I really felt like this one deserved its own category. When I was a teenager, I used to hate adults saying, when I was your age, I didn't used to do that, or I never needed this, and blah 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 blah. It can be very frustrating to hear, because the world in which you grew up in as a teenager is vastly different to the one your parents grew up in. When they complain about how you lived your life to how their life was at your age, it's like comparing oranges to apples. Sure, there's obviously some things that apply to all generations, but until they know what it's like to be a teenager in this day and age, then moaning about when they were your age doesn't really work. And finally at number 1, identity. For a lot of teenagers, this is perhaps the most difficult thing of them all, even though it sounds quite simple. Knowing who you are. Most kids know who and what they are. A lot of adults end up being comfortable in their own skin, but teenagers have to deal with so many physical, mental and emotional changes that simply figuring out who they are from day to day can be a huge challenge. Whether it's sexual identity, cultural identity, religious identity, or any other kind of identity, it can be really frustrating to not know who you are. Sometimes people feel like they know who their friends are better than they know themselves. It can be a very strange time for a lot of people. It might even continue past their teenage years. If any of this sounds familiar, then just remember that there's no pressure. The best way to find who you are in life is just by living life. Alright guys, I hope none of my advice in this video sounded a bit too preachy. I don't have all the answers obviously, but these were my worst things about being a teenager. Which one did you guys relate to the most? Did I miss any good ones out? My name is Danny Burke. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.